Welcome back to the Real Fishing 1 walkthrough. We are on to the second to last level you can unlock, although when you first unlock this level, you are still a long way from unlocking the final stage, as we'll talk about. This is the Cutthroat Trout stage, which takes place at the Beaver Dam. Yay, Beaver Dam. We're going to learn about that. You can fish the cutthroat trout here. They are tough. They like fast streams, but the stream here is not so fast. Set the hook quickly to catch these cutthroat trout. Large cutthroats are very strong. Don't take them lightly. Good advice, fishing master. So the setup here is much like your other trout levels or char level, where you've got some live bait, dry flies, and wet fly. We're going to start with the live bait and take a look at how cutthroat trout bite underwater. It is best to keep your bait right around where the boundary of the background meets the regular green color of the water. That seems to be an ideal strike zone for them. This one did hook successfully, but my hook rate is still not very good with these fish. The timing is not too tricky. Once you actually get them to get the bait in their mouth, they will turn their body 45 degrees with their tail pointing towards the bottom, and that's how you know you can get them. Your window is fairly narrow, but if you have a good feel for them, you can do it. So anytime I go to one of these stages, and it's been a little while, it does take me a few fish to get that feel back. So the first time you come here, you've just unlocked this level, you need to catch 5 of these cutthroats larger than 9.8 inches. That is for your next ball on your license. And then after that, you've got to catch a bluegill larger than 9.1 and then have caught and released 100 fish. But here you're looking for 5 of these fish of that 9.8 size. Later on, to get the second ball for this one, when you're still trying to unlock the last one you need to unlock that final stage of the waterfall to catch salmon, is a cutthroat of 13.8. So that is the default record when you first start up a new game and you have no memory card that the game's not reading for you. You can set that up, and 13.8 is your default record. So this one, you can see, is doing a lot. It's a lot more technical battle than a lot of other fish in this game. It's doing multiple thrashes. It's running a lot. It's just when you think you've got it at the surface, it seems to turn. There's a thrash right away. So these are fairly technical fish to catch. Even when your execution is near perfect, they still can get away. Look how close this one got to that edge. That was probably one more run away from escaping, and even at 6.6 inches, it was there. So we're going to go over to the wet fly, which is going to behave just like the live bait in this level, but why not show it to you anyway? And again, you'll keep it in that strike zone that is right around the point where the distant background meets the plain green color of the water. That's where the fish is going to come up, and they're going to lodge, turn their body 45 degrees towards the bottom. You see the actual mouth open right there to take the bait, and then you can set that hook. And so as we reel, it's turned. And watch for that background to slow down. And as soon as it does, you can see I turn the fish. Now, your window to do that gets narrower and narrower as your fish get harder until you're catching salmon in the next level, and you really just have what seems like just a few frames to do it. You've got to watch that bottom background very carefully. And when the fish is closer to the surface, it actually becomes a lot more difficult than you would think, because you can't see the nearest background. So as you can see, the way they set this up to create that illusion of depth perception for the viewer, when the fish is down at the bottom, they actually will go behind some rocks. So you've got some rocks in the very, very foreground, and then you've got the plane where the fish lives, where the fish sprite lives, and that can actually cross through planes as you pull the fish towards you and away from you with the up and down buttons, which is kind of cool. So if fish are ever really down by the bottom, you can see them crossing the planes of the textures for the backgrounds, which is, I'm sure, just something they had to do to make this game work. But the backgrounds get less detailed and fainter the farther away you go from the perspective. But so you can see right up here, I don't have a lot to judge when this fish is running. I don't have much to watch for that speed. And there's one I actually missed the window right there. You see that I pulled the fish and it broke out. That's where I missed the window. I believe I was too late in that one. It had slowed down. I was too late in executing that pull to turn him. And so with these fish, again, 1 or 2 errors like that can spell the loss of the fish, because you can see, again, he was right up in that beaver dam. So 14.4, this one is well within the range of unlocking the salmon level, but I believe in this game, larger fish spawn once you've unlocked more achievements in this game. Here I'm going to show you some false strikes by these fish with the wet fly. I want to show what this looks like. This one, actually, that was a true strike, but the cutthroat trout will do a lot of false strikes. And that is if your fly is moving too soon before their bite or too late just before their bite. So placement of your bait is pretty difficult to do. So here I believe we see a false strike right there. That's what a false strike looks like from these fish. That fish, the second and third sometimes fish, if they group up together, they, for some reason in this game, they will never take your bait. They seem to be just kind of generic targets. So I think a specific fish has targeted your lure, and that's the one that you need to get, or you lose it. But sometimes you will see other fish as you're in that bite screen. We're going to switch to the dry fly so you can see how the dry flies work. I prefer the dry flies with stages like this. There are hints in the book and in game facts that are unproven that dry flies can be less effective, especially for catching the larger fish on here. I haven't had problems with them. I have caught and unlocked all of the requisite size fish using exclusively dry flies in this game, because I prefer not to have to deal with the extra bit of skill and time intensity that it takes to use a wet fly or the live bait for these ones. So this is a fish hooked on that dry fly. It's unproven, as far as I know, that there is any difference between the kinds of bait you use in this game. And that's something I've discussed in other videos, that fishing games use sometimes, that they can build in levels of complexity that aren't there simply by hinting at a mechanic that exists in the game in the manual that doesn't in actuality exist in the game, but would be very difficult for a player to prove or disprove just by taking a look at it. So while we're finishing catching this cutthroat trout, next video is going to be catching a salmon and watching the credit sequence and talking about what's going on right there. That'll be part 7 of this series of reel fishing. And there I just pulled a little bit too hard, and you can see I lost my dry fly by pulling a little bit too much, trying to hurry that fish in to make the recording for this demonstration. And there I show you that that fly is gone. So if you save your file, that fly is gone, and it is gone forever in this level. So anyway, if you liked this series, do let me know. There's a lot of ways you can do that. You can thumbs up the video if you liked it, and if there's questions that you have, feel free to take a look at the description below there. I have a link to the Game Facts article that I've used for a lot of things in this one. There's a lot of information there. I've also used the game manual that came with the game. There's also a series I have called Reel Fishing Relaxation that is just what you're seeing right now without the sound of my voice. It is 15 minutes of just these animated backgrounds with the nature sounds and the music. So if you are into that Natsume sound and you're looking for some nice long segments to watch, do enjoy that. We will see you next time at the waterfall.